Ride out with me. Ride out and meet them.
For death and glory.
For Northgard.
For your people.
Fell deeds awake.
Now for wrath. Now for ruin. And the red dawn. For the Avengers!
Hey there YouTube, I am the Caffeinated Dad, and today I'm going to cover and explain all of the victory conditions and how to achieve them. I'll also be explaining which clans lean towards specific victory conditions and more. I will speak more so on the player versus environment side of Northgard, however I will touch on PvP as well. I'm the first to admit that I am not as experienced as others at Northgard PvP, so I won't attempt to say what works best. The information I speak on is from community research as well as watching higher tier play. Check the timestamps down below to jump to specific parts of the video. Otherwise, let's get into it. What you would expect from any RTS game, Domination Victory is relatively simple. Seek and destroy. The way to claim victory is by moving your military units onto an enemy town hall tile and holding it for the decolonization bar to complete. Once this is done, the enemy is removed from the game. When playing against AI, this is a common path, as overpowering AI clans can be significantly easier as they have a semi-predictable build path and timing with their gameplays. Knowing how to quickly push out military units and catching them before they can mount a defense with either towers or units can net you a quick win. Based off of the feedback from the community, this is the most common victory type seen in Northgard PvP. Especially in teams matches of 2v2 or 3v3s. Northgard players, especially through the higher tiers, have mastered a rush build, which consists of getting a large military force out fairly quickly, ending the match in a short amount of time before any of the other victory conditions can be complete. Once one player is knocked out of the game, the remaining players on that team would have a near insurmountable hill to climb. There are a few clans that have a militaristic focus as their main strength, which allows them to excel at this victory condition. The first is the Wolf clan for obvious reasons. Their capabilities of supporting their military are nearly unmatched. Killing wolves and bears give food, their lore tree supports quite literally the most aggressive gameplay available by giving crowns when they kill units, healing units when decolonizing, and speeding up the rate in which decolonization happens. Sheesh! Next is the Snake Clan. Signy being a strong unit in her own right, but the true strength of the military lies within the skirmishers. They are capable of sneaking through neutral territory without being detected. They are not overly powerful, however they can cover the map quickly and harass the enemies before they can build a full-fledged defense. The Bear Clan can be a strong mention here as well. Specifically, they quite literally have a bear unit. I mean, come on. They also have buffs during the winter. Instead of them giving a 10% damage penalty, they gain a 10% damage resistance during winter, allowing them to be much more versatile and can strategically attack during times where other clans might be weak. Lastly is the Dragon Clan. Their main strength is in their first military lore and their unique unit, the Dragonkin. The Dragonkin is a strong unit on its own, but paired with the first lore, they become a fearsome combo. They receive a double damage bonus when there are no other friendly units on the tile that they are on. With how quickly they can come out and how strong they are baseline, it makes sense why they are on this list. It would seem they tend to fall off during longer matches, as Dragon Altars non-upgraded will only allow for a single Dragonkin to be made, and once it is upgraded, it allows the normal 2. Their first lore becomes underwhelming, especially when you field a larger army, as their double attack bonus goes away. A workaround for this is to have the main force attacking and send a single Dragonkin off to another unguarded tile. This allows for the lore bonus to kick in and easily dispatch a handful of units. It is also worth mentioning that their Thane rank gives a bonus to their units of 10% attack damage for each victory condition that they are behind on. Meaning if another clan is closer to a Fame victory than the Dragon, they receive a 10% damage buff. Fame victories are another viable method of winning, as it combines both military and economical facets to achieve. Typically, it requires you to control a larger number of tiles than normal, as well as accumulate a large amount of the fame resource, and also to build the specific building, the Altar of Kings. Colonizing tiles on your own for obvious reasons requires a large economy to deal with the ever-increasing cost of food. But the other side of the coin is to have a strong military to clear and then defend said tiles. The fame resource can be gained a number of different ways. Most of these are event-based, such as colonizing a tile, as I've mentioned, holding a feast, defeating powerful neutral monsters around the map, or discovering the map's special center tile. Passively, gaining fame can be done through your longship docks and your sailors. They generate roughly 0.6 fame per month per sailor. However, it may be more beneficial to have your sailors go for lore bonuses early on. The Altar King is the last stipulation to achieve this victory, and the issue with it is that there is an extremely expensive cost to make this building. It eventually will pay itself off. However, it roughly takes about 18 months for normal clans and 12 months for the Boar clan. Against AI, this is a common victory path, as it is easier to build a stronger economy over time and then push for the required tiles. Aside from neutral monsters occasionally attacking into your territory, it is uncommon to have early military pressure from AI clans, which allows you to focus on the economy and defenses. Having said that, it is certainly possible to see early pushes from AI clans. The other benefit of this victory against AI is that you can more easily fight off and kill neutral monster camps, which either when defeated or the tile being colonized will generate a strong boost in fame. The feedback that I have received from the community has suggested that this victory is a bit more uncommon, as matches usually don't last long enough to build the required fame or the tiles needed. If the match becomes more of a stalemate, this becomes a much more reasonable victory path. Having said that, it still requires a long time to achieve the required conditions, so even if the match lasts longer than the initial domination push, it can still fall back to a military victory depending on which team can recover quicker and build their military back. In larger maps, such as 2 vs 2 vs 2, or 2v2v2v2, or even a free-for-all, fame victories can occur more often, as you are more vulnerable to attack from multiple different teams, and simply removing any single player from the match does not guarantee a victory. Some clans have a better time gaining fame versus others. Not you, Snake Clan! First, the Stag Clan is obviously one of the better choices when achieving a fame victory. For starters, their lore tree definitely has them leaning towards that victory path with Glory of the Clan, which gives a flat 20% increase to fame gains, as well as Hero Emblem, which lets the Altar of King generate fame. The second reason they do well is because of their Scalds, which replaces their brewery. Still producing happiness, but passively producing fame. Also, it should be mentioned that the Stag Clan relic gives their war chief the annexation ability, which allows them to colonize the tile for free if the war chief just decolonized it. The second is the Bear Clan, again. Because of their reduced resource cost during winter, with their clan passive, or their lore harpoons, which buffs the food production of fishermen. Also, once the Bear Clan hits 500 fame for the Thane rank, they get plus 3 fame for every unit killed on a tile that has their special war chief unit, the Shield Maiden, on. The Bear Clan tends to be incredibly versatile when we're looking at these victory conditions. Next is the Goat Clan. The main reason they can be more inclined to a fame victory is because of their ridiculously strong economy. Because of their sheepfold, which allows sheep to generate food at a rate of 16.2 food per month per sheep. The first 3 lords for the resource tree maximize food production, which to achieve the fame victory, you are going to need a mess of food. The Goat Clan also has a defensive lore in barricades, which allows your civilian units to gain 20% increased resistance per building in the area. This helps out, of course, for achieving the fame victory, to produce food to colonize a tile, and then also defend said tile. The Raven Clan is also apt for this victory condition because of their capability of colonizing tiles using crowns instead of food. The Raven clan produces a mad amount of crowns through the harbors and their specific replacement for a longship dock. One of their first lures, which increases the amount of crowns they gain by a flat number of +2, as well as having a flat 10% increase of production from sailors and merchants. Their thriving economy gives them an edge to pay off and deal with the heavy food costs. To achieve a wisdom victory, you must discover a total of 15 knowledge from the lore book and get the ancestral knowledge, which is the fourth and final blessing. Lore generates on its own based off of your population size as well as your territory size. Those are the passive ways to accumulate them on their own, but there are of course many active ways to build lore, either through lore masters or sailors primarily. This victory condition is the slowest of all the possible conditions, offering more of a war of attrition pathway. Eventually, someone will win. This victory condition is significantly more feasible in a PvE environment. However, it still takes quite a while, even if it's focused rushed. Being able to optimize your lore production can, of course, speed it up, but it still is just the inevitable win to make sure that the matches don't go on forever. What I've gauged from the community and my own thoughts, lore victories are exceedingly rare in player versus player environments. The reason being is that if you attempt to rush lore victories, you divert much needed materials, namely the stone for the carved stones, building to win. Most matches will have a heavier focus on domination victories, while wisdom victories are just passive win conditions. They just take too long. Having said that piece, there are a couple of clans that do an exceedingly good job at generating a lot of lore. First is the Boar clan. The reason they are capable of generating a good amount of lore is through their menders, which is their replacement for the healer. The mender generates lore instead of food passively. They also have a lore bonus that allows them to increase the amount of lore they generate in any given area by 10%. So of course pair this with a rune stone, a carved stone, or an ancient graveyard. Next is the Horse clan. The main focus of the lore production for this clan is through their excavation lore, which allows Etria and Brock to generate lore while mining, which mining is what this clan does best. Lastly, mentioning the Kraken clan, who has access to the lore Knowledge from Beyond. This clan's specific lore allows their trade routes to generate lore over time. With abundant fisheries they can build on the coastal tiles, it makes it significantly easier to sell off the extra food to generate crowns and lore. If you've enjoyed this guide thus far, please make sure to like the video and hit that subscribe button. I like to make my content geared around strategy games and of course, Northgard. Let's talk about the last main victory condition. The last victory condition that I will describe to you is the trade victory. The requirements are to build a lighthouse, a special upgrade for the longship docks, as well as amassing 2,000 commercial influence. The idea is that you trade off your excess crowns to generate commercial influence and passively happiness. You may only build one single lighthouse, so there's only one great trade route that you can have. The trade route can be changed to offer more crowns off at a faster increased rate of commercial influence coming back to you. But of course it does take a heavy toll on your money. This is arguably one of the fastest victory paths that you can achieve, however it does come with a hefty cost. With proper planning and well-defended areas, this is a very viable choice as a victory condition. This is a semi-viable victory condition depending on the map and the game type. It still is extremely vulnerable from domination-focused teams, as well as most of your crowns are going to be diverted to commercial influence and not paying for your warband. This method potentially becomes viable in free-for-alls. There are a handful of clans that I've already mentioned that are definitely geared towards stronger economies, and this victory condition plays right into them. No doubt about it, Raven does it best. They generate a strong crown economy, and this plays perfectly into a trade victory. Their crown generation is nearly unmatched, and if done correctly, can generate the needed commercial influence incredibly fast. Second is the Goat clan. Because of their strong food economy, they can trade significant amounts of the food away for high amount of crown return. Then the crowns can be then put into the great trade route, and they also have a lore called Food Trade, which allows them to increase the amount of crowns they generate by trading food by 50%, 70% if it's on the tile that is generating the food. Third, the Dragon Clan can generate a fairly strong economy utilizing their thralls, essentially slaves. By utilizing the hard labor lore and the blood, sweat, and tears lore, they can have 3 additional workers producing resources, having a potential max of 5 resource producing members on any given building. That's not upgraded. Specifically, markets or trading posts vastly increases the output possibilities. Lastly, the Stag Clan. Again, the Stag Clan has access to their scalds, and their first economic lore is Value of Great Deeds, which allows them to passively generate more crowns. Also, the Stag Clan can generate a strong food economy as well, and then sell it off for excess crowns. There are 3 victory conditions that are randomly generated during matches: the Gates of Helheim, Odin's Sword, and Yggdrasil. These victory conditions have specific requirements to achieve, either costing heavy resources or having a strong military. It is certainly possible to achieve these victories against AI, as the matches tend to be slower paced and a little bit more controlled. However, all 3 of these victories are geared towards mid to late game conditions. With the speed of matches and the heavy focus on domination victories, it is nearly impossible to achieve these conditions in a PvP environment. The required resources or the heavy military presence makes it very impractical. Now that we have gone through all the conditions, let's go over which clan is best suited for which victory. No doubt about it, the Wolf Clan does it best. With their incredibly strong unit, the Berserker Warchief, and their clan bonuses and lore geared towards supporting a heavy and strong military presence, it just feels like it was meant to be. The best all-around fame victory contender has to be the Stag Clan. With so many lores focused on building fame, as well as the clan being able to support a strong food economy, they have the best opportunity to achieve it. Personal toss-up between Boar and Crackling clans here for me. The Boar has an easier time generating lore through their Mender's Hut, but the knowledge from Beyond lore from the Kraken clan builds lore and crowns to support the rest of the clan's needs. Straight up, no question, Raven Clan is top tier. No questions asked. Their whole playstyle lends towards a trade victory, but how much crowns you can generate so quickly and over time, I mean, it's incomparable. Oof, that was quite a bit of info to get into. Did I miss anything? Tell me in the comments section down below. I hope you've enjoyed this video as much as I have enjoyed creating it. As always, I am the Caffeinated Dad, and I will see you around.